Hi, I'm Major Roger Bicknell, retired Army officer, and you have just typed in to your browser how old you have to be to join the Army and found my video and clicked on it. So to assist you with finding out the answer to this question, first of all, I'm going to share my screen with you, which I'm doing now. Just go through. And there we are on the new tab. So here in the center, I shall paste that keyword in, and as you see, it's come up there. If you wanted, you could just type Army in and it would come up. Oh, there's a new message. Before you visit your local recruiter, be sure you meet the minimum qualifications for serving in the US Armed Forces. Some qualifications are required by all 5 services. Now that's for the US, of course. I'm talking about the UK, but in fact, the rules are very similar. And if you just type Army in the search engine, it'll bring up, in this case, because I'm in the UK, in England, brings up the UK website. But in the US, I can assure you it brings up the US website. And I'm sure the same for Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Anyway, so let's just go and bring up one of these websites, joining the British Army. And here's their one. And they've got the process and things. But what I would recommend to you, before you even go into this and what your age is, because there are variations in age. And depending whether you want to be in the regulars or the reserve or wish to be an officer. So, but when you do get in as a soldier, they're going to ask you to give 3 choices of career in the Army. So you need to know a bit more of what you could do. And they've got a thing called the Role Finder. And I would recommend you come here, you put the same phrase in you put in before, hit the arrow, and it'll say how old you have to be to join the Army. 166 different searches for it. And in here, you could go through and look at the different, there are 14 pages of them. And it'll give you an idea on what you need to be for each trade. So let's take logistics support photographer as the first one we're just going to have a look at. So if you click on that, you can come down here, it'll give you all about what the photographer is going to do, the training you'll get and everything, the qualifications you can get from it, moving up the rank. But if you come down here, you will find about you. Male and female can do it. Experience in one of the roles below to apply for this specialization. Experience you have would like to get computing IT or media. And you should be interested in these things. They haven't actually put an age in this one. So let's go and see if they've got any. So the chances are, if you're coming into this, you're going to be a minimum age of 17. And you will have been a bit older because you'll have gone through basic training and things. Let's go and see intelligence linguist. Here, for instance, male or female, and you've got to be a regular between the age of 18 and 32 years and 11 months. So if you've made your 33rd birthday, you're too old. Okay? Some of these you will find there are slight variations in age. Let's see what. Now these are 18 to 30 in this case. Sometimes you can join into the reserve army as well. Let's see what this one does. Here we've got a change in age, male or female. If you're regular army, from 16 and a half to 33 again, or 32.11. If you've made your 33rd, you're too old. But reservists, you've got to be 17 3/4 before you can join. So there's another thing. So each of these, back to the role finder, and I'll just pop your keyword in. Each of these 166 places can have different requirements. So my son's actually an ammunition technician. Let's see what his requirements were. Regular army, 16 and a half, and 17 3/4 if it's the reserve. But most of those who are in the reserve have actually had the training in the regulars, so that the bottom age isn't really so much. They're going to come in at the upper end because it's a year's course anyway. So that is how you find what you're looking for on that age requirement. So let me just flick back to putting me on screen. So how old you have to be to join the army? No problem. Going back to when I was making the decision about joining the army, I was actually making the decision to go to Sandhurst, because in those days it was with A-level, or go to university. My father had served in the army. He joined at 14 as an apprentice at Chepstow and retired at 55 as a major. And his advice was, you are never going to be rich or really wealthy by being in the army. It's not going to turn you into a Richard Branson or Donald Trump. I'm afraid the politicians are not that generous. Even if you make full general, you ain't going to achieve those higher levels, though you'll be very comfortable, of course, as a general. But one of the things you will have is a fantastic life, a life of adventure, and you'll do things or have the opportunity to do things you could never have dreamt of doing in Civvy Street. And that's what makes the army a fantastic place. You will travel. In fact, currently people are going all over the place, training exercises in Kenya, in West Africa as well, with the Ebola outbreak, the Falklands. Of course, Afghanistan's finished, but there have been exercises in Poland recently. We still do training at Bathurst in Canada, and of course with our American allies. So you get fantastic opportunity to move around. In fact, I was on some training in the United States when the Washington Redskins won Super Bowl for the first time. And it was a fantastic occasion when the team on the following Wednesday got back to Washington. Anyway, one of the big changes from when I joined the army, of course, is the fact we have the internet now. I mean, one of the things you always have is plenty of time in the army for doing sports or rest and recreation thing. You can always find time. My son recently, last year, was out in Afghanistan with the close down. And in fact, they changed their day around because the temperatures were running in excess of 140 Fahrenheit. So they were doing a lot of their work at night in the ammunition workshops rather than during the day. So they'd be in their air-conditioned sleeping quarters during the day and working when the temperatures had dropped. They were still in their 80s. Anyway, one of the things is pensions certainly aren't as good as they used to be in the army, because politicians have a great fear of planning for these sort of things or paying them. And so, as I said, you're not going to be rich, but you do have time on your side and you do have communication. And now you've got the internet. And I have a little business on the side now where I help people, or I get commission when people buy things from Apple. Can you believe that? Apple. Or when they go into Walmart. Or here in the UK, Staples, when I order colour cartridges for the computer, they actually send me back cash. I mean, it's fantastic. So all I'll say to you is, if you're looking for something like, or if you found this helpful in your career choice, but want to find out what I'm doing on the side as well, click the button below, put in your detail, and I'll get back to you. So thanks for your time today. All the best, and see you in the future. Have a great life. Bye.